GM friends, welcome back to another episode on Friends Validator. If this is your first video, I'm yours, Jure Maibaum, and this show is the hub that brings together crypto pioneers, exciting projects, and a thriving community. We are a core contributor to the staking sector and believe that it will grow into a multi-billion-dollar industry over the next couple of years. On the show, you will learn how to profit from the proof of stake run-up, how to make money in crypto with staking, and how to stay ahead of the curve. If this sounds interesting to you and you want to profit from the staking revolution, subscribe to this show. And today I'm sitting here with one of my fellow validator colleagues, Serch from Stakecito, and we will talk all things Near. So the Near blockchain is a very good spot right now, making a lot of moves, and we will talk about where Near goes next, an ecosystem update, and much more. So yeah, Serch, thank you for coming on. And yeah, how are you doing?
Hey Yuri, thanks for having me once more. This time on your YouTube, basically. So I'm pretty good, to be honest. I mean, I think we are all much better these days, given the bullish sentiment, and cannot complain. How about you?
Yeah, same thing. Everything is looking great again, and it really demonstrates how fast things can change in the crypto industry, right? So
Yeah.
a couple of months ago, like 10 months ago, everything looked, yeah, not so good. Everything was dark. The future was a little bit uncertain, and now we're sitting here and just reached a Bitcoin all-time high, and all of the blockchains are booming, including Near. I think that's a very good introduction to Near. Near
Right.
is making big moves. I think Near was around the $8 benchmark, which is cool to see. And you used to have like a validator on the Near blockchain since the early days with Stake and Stone. So can you talk a little bit about the early days of Near when you joined, where the focus was of the Near blockchain? Because now the focus has quite changed over the past couple of months, right?
Oh yeah, that's true. I mean, Nia has obviously evolved also a lot, but I think we started around 2020, 2021, if I'm not wrong, with Jonas and myself. So Nia was, I think, the third chain actually that we set up a validator, and this was pre-Stakecito time. So at that time, Stakecito as a brand actually didn't even exist. I mean, I knew Michael or CryptoCito at that time already, but the whole Cosmos and Stakecito brand, it just evolved for me personally a little bit later. So we started off very early with Near. I think we actually participated in one of the incentivized testnets, received some Near, and this enabled us basically to get into the active set, because obviously it's also not so easy getting into the active set. I think right now it's around 28,000 Near that you need to have as a validator at around $7.50. That's over $200,000 in order to become a validator. Back then it was a little bit easier, right? And I mean, Nia basically started off as I think, very simple sort of Ethereum competitor in a way, because they actually started off as an AI company. I think initially they were called Nia AI and co-founded, as you know, by Ilya, I think Alex, and the third one is Eric, around 2017, 2018. So really the first ICO boom cycle. And why they founded Near back then, obviously because Ethereum just couldn't scale already. They realized that for their own application, for their own company, that Ethereum and other layer ones couldn't fulfill their vision. So they started to build Near basically. And it's a proof of stake chain, obviously. It has a BFT consensus, which is different from Tenement actually. And basically the whole Near blockchain is sort of a sharded chain, right? Like every account, every address is an own small roll-up or is an own mini blockchain, so to say. So the whole design is sort of built from a sharding perspective. And nowadays they are going even further into this whole roll-up data availability sector, so to say. How have you experienced Near, and how did you get into Near?
I got into Near in Lisbon in 2021.
Mhm.
Back then, already the entire crypto community was going to Lisbon shortly before the conference Mania, and then the NearCon was the first blockchain event I was invited to personally. I was at ListCon before, but then at ListCon, obviously all of the Ethereum events are also closely tied to Near, so you always meet Near people at Ethereum at Ethereum conference because there are a lot of synergies.
Right.
And then I attended a keynote. I don't know who held it, but it was about an ecosystem fund. And back then, ecosystem funds were the hot topics. So, for example, Avalanche did an ecosystem fund with I think $64 million to incentivize decentralized applications to launch on Avalanche, and also Aave came to Avalanche because of that. So all of a sudden, everyone was doing these ecosystem funds, and then one keynote at ListCon was about how to do ecosystem funds the right way, held by one of the Near team members. So I thought, okay, maybe there's an opportunity that Near is introducing its own ecosystem fund relatively soon, and then it happened. They introduced the ecosystem fund at NearCon 1, so NearCon 2021, a week afterwards. And yeah, the buzz was real. So this is the first time where I really looked much deeper into Near. But yeah, Near was always interesting for me, also because you mentioned the team already. Ilya, Alex, they both have like super strong backgrounds. So this was the reason why Near was always very appealing to me. Fast forward in 2022, we launched Friends Validator on various Cosmos chains, and then we decided, okay, Near should be the first blockchain outside of the Cosmos ecosystem we want to launch on, because there were always strong synergies. Like I've also heard very soon about Composable aiming to ship IBC to the Near blockchain. And I've also heard that this is also the easiest way to do so. So that Near is the easiest way where you can ship IBC to outside of the Cosmos. So always synergies, because I'm also an Ethereum fanboy, so to say. So with all of the blockchains I like, there were always synergies with Near. And this is the reason why I got into Near relatively soonish.
No, I think they did a lot of things right. Even the ecosystem fund, I think it's all playing out right now. They have a lot of strong projects. Some of the projects even have like millions or hundreds of millions of users, which is insane. And all like plays out into the bull market now. So
yeah, even though like the developer fund, the 800 million developer fund, did not go so ideal actually. Like a lot of them failed, and the Near one was also not too successful. I think the only developer fund, or like the ecosystem fund, to be more precise here, the only ecosystem fund that I know that was really successful was the Avalanche one. It was the one that was the smallest, with just $68 million. Near's wasn't that successful, but I think Near did a big comeback in other areas and started to focus on the right things. And we will talk about that, because in 2021, let's reflect on that. Everyone was trying to convince decentralized applications to launch on its L1. So when you were at NearCon, at Solana Breakpoint, at ETH Lisbon, ListCon, you had like all of these teams, even from the Harmony blockchain, walking around, hey, do you want to launch on my blockchain? Do you want to launch on my blockchain? Everyone was trying to get an Aave outpost on its layer one. These times have changed quite a bit, right? So also Near is heading towards this direction. So can you talk maybe a little bit about that, the direction that has changed in the crypto industry generally? Everyone is building rollups nowadays, or layer twos or something like that, but nobody is launching a decentralized application anymore that much and issue governance tokens. Like, are these times somewhat over? And yeah, also Near's obviously heading into that direction, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. I feel like, everyone is trying to build those roll-ups, data availability, modularity, and so on. But the question is, first of all, where do you get all the users from, right? Like, who's going to use all those applications? Basically saying there might be an oversupply, actually, if everyone is doing the same thing. And obviously, you also need to have applications building on top of those roll-ups, right? It's at the end of the day, it's the same problem, so to say. But I think what Near has done a little bit differently is like they build a solution that is really solving problems for the industry, or for like, let's say, companies that already have like an existing client base and that maybe have like a lot of transactions, a high user base, and also pay a lot of fees for example, using, like centralized payment railways, let's say. So this is how Near actually, got some of the some really large, projects building on top. One of them is called Kaiching. Maybe you heard of them, or they used to be called Kaiching. I think they actually rebranded into Cosmosis or something like that. Very similar to Cosmos. It sounds very similar to Cosmos. Sorry, it's like a multimedia company. They used to use Stripe for payment, which cost them like 30 cents per second. And since they, transitioned to Near, they pay less than a fraction of a cent. And they have millions of users. So this means they actually save a lot of money. So this is like a industry company basically launching on top of a public chain Near. So, and I think this is also really their focus nowadays. It's like they want to onboard the next generation Web3 projects, or bring Web2 projects into Web3 that have a lot of users, that need high throughput, high scalability. Sweatcoin is another example. Actually, Winnie from our team is using this app, Sweatcoin. So it's like a move to earn project where you earn cryptocurrency in order to do some physical activity. And I think this application has also 150 million installs. So that's quite a lot, and over 10 million monthly active users. And they are all it's built on top of Near, basically. So I think this is the direction sort of that Near tries to go. But this was my understanding. Maybe you know more about the data availability rollup sector for them.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think generally we will talk about that more in depth when we talk about chain abstraction, actually, building applications for the real users, which is also a part of that. Also, generally, I think this is maybe another thing we can talk about, is like deepen all of the, or also tokenization of real world assets. All of that, what helps the end user in the real world, is getting more and more popular, I would say. So also Near is writing that narratives. In regards to data availability, this was announced at NearCon 3. So NearCon is always the place if you want to get alpha from the Near ecosystem. And yeah, I was actually very surprised when I heard about that, because back then data availability was still something very new. Celestia just launched, and then Near said that they basically want to become a data availability layer for Ethereum rollups, so that you can post rollup data on Near, because it's much cheaper than on Ethereum, obviously. Obviously, also Ethereum tries to scale more with the Denkun upgrade that took place yesterday, actually. But yeah, still, it's much cheaper to deploy your rollup data on Near. It's around 8,000 times cheaper than on Ethereum. I don't know how much this has changed since yesterday's Denkun upgrade, but yeah, it's definitely much cheaper than using Ethereum for that. And just to put this more into dollars perspective, so when I read about this, 100 KB of call data, so to deploy this amount of data on the Ethereum L1 would have cost around $26, while posting the same amount on the Near protocol would just cost $0.0033. So there's like a huge difference. And yeah, as I mentioned, everyone is building rollups right now, not only to attract applications to build on top of it. It's actually in the Cosmos way of thinking, so that you have app chains, so that you have rollups that are tailored to one use case, so app specific rollups. And now everyone is building a rollup for its own application, and somewhere the data has to be posted. And since Near never was down, unlike Solana, yeah, Near is like a very reliable spot to post data, because Near has been around for many, many years, similar to Ethereum. Also did a tremendous uprun, and yeah, it has proven that it's very reliable. And yeah, at NearCon 3 in Lisbon last year, they announced that they will also move into that direction. So they kind of compete with Celestia, kind of I don't know precisely what this competition will look like, but yeah, this is kind of the deal here, and it also demonstrates once again how many synergies there are between Near and Ethereum, which is also actually a bullish sign for Near, in my view.
No, definitely. I think Near is also quite closely aligned with Ethereum. I mean, they're obviously also EVM compatible through Aurora, basically, and yeah. So I think with the data availability, it's quite interesting. I mean, I don't remember the exact details, but I remember seeing a graphic just a couple of days ago where Near was comparing itself to Celestia and Ethereum. I don't know if you've seen the same graphic, but basically the graphic was showing that apparently, according to the graphic, they are beating Celestia at various aspects, also in terms of costs, in terms of like storage capacity, stuff like this. I don't know if any of that is correct or not, but it seemed like Near's might be a Celestia competitor actually in a way. I mean, obviously Near's already has much higher market cap than Celestia at this point right now, but yeah, we will see how this whole thing evolves. I mean, it will be interesting. And they have a partnership with Dimension Near, right?
Oh, really?
So
Didn't know that
yeah.
actually. Can you? What's going on there? Like, do you know any details?
To be honest, I don't know really the details. I just know that they announced working together on something. I guess also, I think it's just bringing rollups to Near, right? Or like, yeah, bringing, yeah, I guess bringing rollups to Near. But what are the details? I'm not sure, because they do have those partnerships in all sorts of directions right now as well, right? So yeah, I have to dig into this myself a little bit more.
Yeah, and yeah, you're right. Like, there's still a pretty big gap between Near's market caps and Celestia's, but it's also getting smaller because yeah, Celestia launched with a lot of buzz. But yeah, also to cover that once again, Near did a lot of moves. I think it was kind of a breakthrough moment for Near, because Near also really suffered like a lot of, like, similar to many other ecosystems, a lot in this previous bear market. But yeah, I think Nia is completely on track right now with a fully diluted market cap of 9 billion and a current market cap of around 8 billion. So yeah, I think Nia is definitely on track. But yeah, there are a lot of different narratives that Nia is focusing on right now. Primarily data availability, as we just discussed. Another one, basically the deepen movement by bringing applications to the real world that people really need. You mentioned Sweatcoin. Another one is chain abstraction. And chain abstraction, I find it the most interesting one, because everything for crypto, in my view, will fall and stand with abstraction. What does abstraction mean for all of the people that don't know what this is? So in Near's core belief, Ilya Polushkin wrote this blog post, by the way, blockchains must be abstracted from the user. And one quote I really found very interesting is that Ilya said, we actually don't have many decentralized applications out there. We just have front ends. And if you think about it, this actually makes sense, because if you want to use Uniswap or Osmosis, for instance, you need to open your wallet. So another application basically opens. And if you need to open one app to use another app, you don't have an app, but a front end. So the critique is actually that we have like a lot of different front ends in the crypto industry nowadays, and you need decentralized applications such as MetaMask, Kepler, all of these different wallets and near wallets to interact with them. And now with abstraction, the idea is to remove the entire blockchain part from that, so that you just open your application, for instance, on your mobile phone, and you can seamlessly interact with all of the other applications. Because at the end of the day, the end user doesn't care if he uses the Near blockchain, the Cosmos blockchain, the Solana blockchain, the Ethereum blockchain. It should just work. Please just work. That's the only thing that the end user is interested in, and it should be a nice UI. So abstraction completely falls into this part, that there are no bridging things involved, or that you have to change the wallets or applications. So this is what abstraction essentially is all about. And yeah, I find this very inspiring that Near moves into that direction. That's a very, very bullish sign in my view, because yeah, in 2021, nobody really thought about those people, right? Everyone was just building DeFi pools for people to rock, and that was it. Like towards the
Yeah.
end of the bull cycle, no one was really building applications for the end user, right?
Right, right. No, I agree with you. I think this is one of the things that Near did right, basically right from the beginning. I mean, if you're like new to crypto and you want to get started, let's say you go to the Near website, you actually don't even need to like have a browser extension or set up a wallet. You can sign in through email very easily, not even using a private key, basically. And then from my understanding, the way chain abstraction works is actually that, once you're signed in, you can from the same website basically interact not only with all the implications within Near, but also like outside of Near, as you said, you can interact with Bitcoin from the Near website, let's say, or from Near blocked from the Near protocol. You can interact with Ethereum, all the other ones, and it seems extremely seamless, like because you don't need to switch from one wallet to MetaMask to hop to different destinations in order to buy your asset. You just use it from one interface. Very simple. And that's kind of that's interesting because it also kind of competes with IBC a little bit. I think this vision, right? Like if Nia is able to abstract away this whole usage natively, how does IBC actually comes into play? Because IBC is also in a way tries to abstract away a lot of the interoperability problems, right? It's not quite there yet. We still need to use wallets and this and that, but more or less IBC tries to make it easier for interoperable assets. And we also have like account abstraction in Cosmos and stuff like that, right? And interchain accounts and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, 100% agree on this. And this also will take place now, which is fast auth, what you mentioned. So it's about mapping out addresses for all kinds of ecosystems, including EVM addresses, Bitcoin addresses, because this is also what Ilya mentioned in his blog post. Imagine if I couldn't send you an email with my Gmail account just because you are using a Yahoo account or an Outlook account. This wouldn't make sense. Yeah. So we have to get rid of building silos. And this is also actually why I'm bearish on all of the chains that kind of build these fragmented silos that don't care about interoperability. Because if we really want to build applications for, for the world, all of these things have to be interoperable with each other. Like really just think about this example that Ilya mentioned there. Think about if I couldn't send you an email from my Gmail account to your Outlook account just because Outlook doesn't like Google. Like that would be very retarded actually. So this is also what chain abstraction is. I wouldn't say it's an IBC competitor at all. It's like there is a reason why they want to enable IBC, right? Because IBC is extremely powerful. We also have with Polymer an upcoming layer 2 that wants to bring IBC to the Ethereum side of things. So it just proves essentially the point of cross-chain collaboration.
Yeah, competition is not the right word, but you know what I mean, right? Like it's like even XLR in a way. If you think about XLR and IBC, it's also people argue that they compete in a way, but at the end of the day, people just building stuff, and whatever wins, right? So
yeah, I think this really hits the nail on its head. But yeah, like generally, I think the focus of Near right now, if we would break it down, is data availability and abstraction. Just like one thing that just came into my mind. Like Near was one of the first ones to talk about abstraction without knowing that abstraction actually was a thing, because Near has the aspect of human readable addresses. So you can say, hey, I'm Serch.near, for example. On Ethereum, you have to pay a lot of money for that, because essentially you still have your 0x address and then you exchange it or deploy a human readable address to it. But on Near, you, as you mentioned, you go to the website, log in with Google, create your address that you want to have, And yeah, then it's running already. So like the onboarding or the abstraction part, especially for completely new users, is extremely user friendly. So Near is definitely pioneer here.
Right. I agree. And this might be one of the reasons why they actually recently reached, I think, over 100 million addresses, as far as I know.
Yeah.
Or like over, yeah. And that's a lot. You know,
Yeah.
didn't they even top Ethereum with that? I'm not sure. Maybe they even top Ethereum with that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, actually, I've also read that Near is apparently the most used blockchain right now. I don't know, the statistics are very different. Like some people say it's Solana, some people say it's Near.
Mhm.
The most capital is still in Ethereum, that's for sure. But yeah, apparently most individual users are Near. I can very well imagine that actually.
Mhm. Yeah. No, I mean, once more, I think the onboarder, like the user onboarding is like it's hard to beat what Nia is doing. And I wish like other ecosystems, including, you know, Cosmos and Solana and so on, would think about the same thing even more. I know they think hard about it, but like, yeah, I was super surprised the first time I used Near. You know, like I was onboarded in 5 minutes. I didn't need to buy any cryptocurrency. I need like, it just was so simple, you know. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, 100% agree on that. So yeah, I mean, Near has focused on a lot of things in the early days. It was part of the movement. I mean, it always had strong synergies with the Ethereum world. Then we moved into a direction where they competed with the Harmonies, the Solanas, the Avalanches in the world with ecosystem grants, tried to attract applications to its L1. Also, they had a very interesting developer incentivization mechanism, or they still have it, where the more an application is being used, the more you are being rewarded as a developer. They were also pioneer here. And now, as we move into a direction where people think about application specific rollups, Near is heading into the direction to become a data availability layer for Ethereum rollups, because it's much cheaper to post rollup data on Near than it is to post it on Ethereum. And the interesting fact here is that Near is reliable, 100% uptime. It never went down, such like Solana did. So this is not something that is, yeah, completely common in the crypto industry nowadays, even though we, yeah, went a long way. And
Mhm.
the besides data availability, the other big focus of the Near blockchain right now is abstraction, really abstracting the blockchain part to the end user. Because when a blockchain comes into play, it usually gets very user unfriendly. I think this is a
Right.
TLDR right now, right? Plus Near is pumping.
Yeah, Nia is doing something right. I mean, that's for sure.
Yeah,
What are some of the other projects? Like maybe we can talk about one or two other projects very quickly. Is there anything else that you had a look at? Like except for Sweatcoin on Kai Ching, what I mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, Metapool is a liquid staking solution for the Near ecosystem. I've worked with the team for quite some time now, and yeah, they do liquid staking for the Near blockchain, and also help that the validator set is getting decentralized. So the
Mm-hmm.
uh, so on Metapool, the more meta tokens you have, you can stake and vote for validators to receive Near coins. So yeah, I'm pretty optimistic about Metapool, because decentralization is important. Also, liquid staking is yeah, certainly a DeFi activity. So this is the reason why I'm also actually very interested in the future of the Metapool protocol.
Yeah, no. I mean, you know, we know those guys as well, and I'm also quite bullish on Metapool. Actually, I think like their user interface and so on, it's pretty nice. They have quite good traction, like 150 million TVL. That's pretty good. And also, what's also interesting is I think like the market cap. I mean, the fully diluted is around 50 million. I think that's also still quite cheap considering how large Near as an ecosystem is, if you compare it to other liquid staking providers, right? but their actual market cap like is around 10 million or something like that. And I thought, wow, like no financial advice as always, right? But at the end of the day, you also you also have to put your position. So I'm looking at Metapool as well.
Yeah, I actually like started to look at Metapool at a valuation of $4 million in the deepest bear market.
Right.
So yeah, they also did some big moves, and yeah, everything sub 100 million is a pretty decent steal. But yeah, I think we covered all what we needed to cover. Lots of interesting near projects that are part of the near ecosystem. Again, near is focusing on abstraction, data availability nowadays. It gets some decent traction. That like we see a lot of decent traction on the near blockchain, one of the most used blockchains in the entire industry for a lot of good reasons that we mentioned in the beginning of this interview. So yeah, Serch, I think we are both optimistic for near future.
Super. I am.
Nice. And with that being said, friends, make sure to check out Stakecito as well. They also have a YouTube channel. So for everything that has to do with tutorials, how to get started in crypto, Liam on the team is doing all of them. And yeah, also to follow them on Twitter. And yeah, check us out on the near blockchain, Stakecito and friends, delegate and stake with us. And with that being said, Stakecito. So Serch, thank you for coming on, and I hope I see you the next time.
Thank you very much, Yuri. See you.